was fast.
Hello! We do a lot of tours of homes, and today we're gonna give you a tour of our home away from home, and this is our new Studio McGee Inc. office space. Our new space is 20,000 square feet, and we have a lot of open spaces, offices, conference rooms, breakout spaces, and I'm going to be walking you through each look and the selections that we made in all of those spaces.
We're also going to share how we got all the furniture up here without a freight elevator to the 6th floor. During COVID, we all worked from home for over a year, and we outgrew our previous office space and needed a new place to go.
We found a space that had been built out as a commercial space and was unoccupied, and the vision for this space was blending the functionality of a workspace and the feeling of home.
So we're going to start in our personal office spaces.
Yes.
Yours
Probably
first. Mine first. Mine first. It's quick, it's smaller, so it'll be easier to go through.
Oh my gosh.
And then we'll get to yours. Welcome to my office. Got a cool view, nice mountains. I got my Topo Chico. Quenches my thirst, keeps me going. I ended up going with a darker color that I was like, oh, I want to go dark. And it kind of matches my office at home that you did that I loved.
Then we did these cool picture lights that go above the floating shelves. I love that they're like these really thick profile, and
Put some of my favorite books up here.
Everyone's favorite chair from our Target collection made it into your office too.
Super comfy actually. Black hardware, the black chair.
Yes.
It all has a very cool vibe. So kind of like a mullet, like business over here, party over there. Cool.
Okay,
Should we go to your place now?
My office is next door.
This thing
The
is
office
massive.
space, oh my.
You could put bunk beds in here.
I love the mix of modern and traditional, and so you'll see that in all of the selections throughout the space. Started with the wallpaper. I love this William Morris wallpaper that we carry at McGee & Co. I fell in love with the rug next, and the colors were so beautiful with this blue tone, and then layered on top of that. So we did polished concrete in all of the open spaces of the office, but in each breakout space and office, behind a door, we did vinyl. And vinyl can be tricky to make look really good, but it's great for commercial spaces. And this Stanton one I fell in love with, and we got it through Lemco locally. A large work table where I can place samples. We tried to differentiate the looks of the two spaces by doing SIDS with open shelves and in a wood tone, and in here doing a painted with closed. And I love the reeded glass. These chairs are also from McGee & Co. I love them. They're like very comfortable. They work as dining end chairs really well. You'll notice that I don't have a computer in here, and that's because I do all of my focusing work at home and then come into the office for meetings. I love my office space. It feels really happy in here, and although work takes us on location to film a lot and to meetings, I get so excited when I have to come into the office for a meeting and can spend some time in here. Off to the design library. So this living room I call it a living room, but it's an open space, is a common area for the design team. The design library is always a big deal when designing our office spaces because design teams come with a lot of stuff. Samples for fabric, tile, hardware, finishes. You can just see that there's so many samples. It was all open when we first moved in. We added the walls so that we could create a true library. Killowen did the build of this space. Tyler, who you've seen us work with many times, did the build out of our office space and all the cabinetry. Sid had to step out to take a quick call, so I'm going to resume the tour. I really wanted island spaces so that we could lay everything out, set out our client trays. Off of the design space and library, we have a conference room. We had to figure out what goes where? Are we doing wallpaper in certain spaces? Are we doing plaster in certain spaces, just paint? So in the end, what we decided was all the open spaces get the light paint. And then in The medium-sized conference rooms will do plaster, and every team got a different color plaster. And then in all the large conference rooms, we did grass cloth. And that's how we came up with a formula and a system to designing such a huge space such as this. I'm going to loop around back to the foyer. When we first took over the office, everything was painted pitch black in here. So we painted it a really warm gray and we added some molding around these columns that were built in. The desk was a labor of love for Tyler. I really wanted this curved corner reception desk, and I didn't want it to be tall so it blocked people from feeling like welcome when they came in. Obviously, had to have the Studio McGee & Co. signage, and we did this burnished brass tone, which I think is really pretty, and then we framed it out with these built-ins on either side with a Calcutta marble on this countertop and up the backsplash. Up next, we're going to head to the kitchen. I mean, everyone's favorite part of the workday is lunchtime, right? So let's head over there. This was where the previous kitchen was, but it was small. So we removed one of the offices next door, bumped into that, and then created all new cabinetry along the walls. We did an oak island in the center, and I love that it feels like a table, but it has these little drawers, but you can still tuck stools underneath it. And then of course this oval detail around the corners I love as well. We worked with Kohler and did this really great brass pull down spring faucet. And then we worked with Italia Granite, who we work with a lot locally, on our countertops, and we did this honed soapstone. So we have this really long open space in the middle, and it felt natural to have some common areas for people to go and have breakout little meetings. This right here is a good example of what to do when you have a really, really long space in your home. It might not get 2 whole living setups, but the tip of creating zones makes a really big difference to having a space feel more intimate, especially when it's really, really open. I love repeated lights. In fact, when we first started and we had our very first office and we could only fit 6 people in the office, the one thing that we did was we did repeated gold pendants, and every single office that we have done since has incorporated that elements, and I think it just kind of helps remind us where we started, and it's fun to do that in a new way in every office space. Over on this wall here, I actually don't really know what they were for the previous office space, and so we decided to make them seated areas, and so we wrapped them in an oak and then did a vertical curved detail and a floating bench that has outlets so people can plug in. Looks like Sid's back, so he's going to grace us with his presence for a few minutes. The build was really interesting because although it was a remodel, it did require a lot of strategy because there's no freight elevator in the building and we're on the top floor. So
we had to have them remove one of the windows on the very top floor.
We had to, that was how we got all of the demo trash out too, was like there was this massive slide that went out of the window to the dumpster.
Like the ones you see in New York City.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're not in New York City, we're in Utah.
York City.
So then when it was time to bring in the furniture, Sid said Tyler had like a harness on and they craned in
so
the
they
furniture.
got it close enough, and then they had to like lean out and grab it and like swing it in, and a bunch of guys would then unload it. And they just did that over and over.
Every single desk, all the couches, every single thing. Looks beautiful, and it feels really good to have an office space where our team can collaborate again.
But I think next time we move out, whoever takes it over gets to keep all the furniture.
They get to keep all the furniture included.